The 2026 NFL Draft just took a dramatic turn for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it starts with a move that could completely reshape this offense. A blockbuster trade for A.J. Brown is no longer just a fantasy scenario being thrown around by fans, with reports suggesting the Philadelphia Eagles could make a decision on his future within the next 10 days. The possibility has real momentum, and if the price is similar to what Seattle received for DK Metcalf or what Buffalo got for Stephon Diggs, a second-round pick plus additional value, then the Steelers absolutely have to consider it. The proposed deal sends the Steelers' second-round pick along with Nick Herbig to Philadelphia. When you break it down, it makes sense from a roster construction standpoint. Herbig has been productive in a rotational role, but with T. Watt and Alex Highsmith entrenched as starters, his path to a full-time job in Pittsburgh is limited. Meanwhile, A.J. Brown instantly transforms a position that was a major weakness just a year ago into arguably the biggest strength on the roster. Brown is a top-5 receiver in today's game. He can win at every level of the field. He's physical, explosive, and consistent. If you have the chance to add that type of talent, you do it. Financially, it's more realistic than some might think. Brown's projected cap hit would sit around $15 million per season if traded. Largely due to void years built into his deal, that structure allows the Steelers to build a loaded wide receiver room in the short term. And speaking of that room, this scenario also assumes Aaron Rodgers returns on a $10 to $15 million deal. Add Romeo Dew as a veteran wide receiver 3 with chemistry already established from Green Bay, and suddenly you're looking at a veteran-led, highly efficient passing attack. Rodgers has always preferred experienced receivers. This setup aligns perfectly with that tendency. Now shift to the draft itself. With wide receiver addressed through the trade, the first-round focus turns to defense. At pick 21, the selection is Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo. This is a safety with elite instincts, strong tackling ability, and a nose for the football. Over 200 pounds, physical, capable in coverage, and someone who reportedly forced 7 fumbles last season. Pairing him with Deshaun Elliott and utilizing Yolan Ramsey in the slot creates a 3-safety big nickel look that fits perfectly within Patrick Graham's defensive vision. McNeil-Warren projects as a day-1 starter. In round 2, the Steelers address a long-standing issue at nose tackle with Dominique Orange from Iowa State. The run defense has struggled, particularly when double teams pushed interior defenders backward and created open lanes. Orange is described as a tree stump in the middle, powerful, difficult to move, disruptive against the run. He fills a role this defense has needed for years. Round 3 brings cornerback Dalen Everett from Georgia. Long arms, elite speed from his combine performance, and experience in a complex defensive system under Kirby Smart. Everett may need technical refinement, but his traits fit what Pittsburgh values. With either Asante Samuel Jr. or James Pierre potentially returning, Everett can develop before eventually stepping into a larger role. Then comes an aggressive trade-up to pick 86 to select Romulo Height from Texas Tech. After moving Nick Herbig in the A.J. Brown deal, this pick replaces that rotational pass-rushing role. Height is undersized but explosive off the edge, disruptive on passing downs, and coached previously by outside linebackers coach CJRU. That connection matters. Height resets the rookie contract clock at a premium rotational position. In round 4, guard Yalen Farmer from Kentucky adds developmental depth to the offensive line. Even if a veteran like Isaac Sumalo returns on a short-term deal, Farmer offers long-term upside and potential starting capability. Day 3 continues adding developmental depth. Bishop Fitzgerald, a big instinctual safety from USC, provides special teams value early with potential for defensive snaps later. Linebacker Keyshawn Elliott from Arizona State, considered a top 100 talent by some evaluations, becomes a developmental understudy behind Patrick Queen. Then in round 7, the Steelers double dip at receiver with Caden Ogan from Iowa, an impressive Shrine Bowl route runner who could contribute on special teams immediately, and Jordan Hudson, a well-rounded receiver with potential wide receiver 3 upside in the future. When you zoom out and look at the full picture, A.J. Brown added to the offense, Aaron Rodgers returning, due providing depth, McNeil-Warren and Dominique Orange strengthening the defense from day 1, plus rotational and developmental pieces across the board, this draft strategy aggressively pushes the Steelers toward immediate contention while still investing in the future. So now it comes down to you. If you're running the Steelers, do you pull the trigger on the A.J. Brown trade and build this version of the roster heading into 2026? Because once you commit to that kind of move, you're not just making a splash, you're making a statement about where this franchise believes it is right now. If A.J. Brown walks into that locker room, everything shifts. Defensive coordinators can no longer shade coverage one direction. You're potentially lining up Brown on one side, DK Metcalf on the other, and Romeo Doubs working as a reliable veteran option underneath. That's not just improved, that's intimidating. That's a receiving corps that forces defenses into lighter boxes, which helps your run game. That's a group that gives Aaron Rodgers answers before the snap. And if Rodgers truly returns on a manageable deal, you've essentially maximized the final competitive window of a veteran quarterback by surrounding him with proven weapons instead of asking rookies to grow up overnight. And think about how that changes the identity of the team. For years, the Steelers have leaned on defense to carry them, while the offense tried to find consistency. In this scenario, you're still reinforcing the defense, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren stepping in immediately at safety, Dominique Orange finally plugging that interior run defense hole, Romello Height restoring rotational pass rush depth, but you're no longer asking the defense to be perfect every Sunday, you're building balance. The McNeil-Warren selection in particular feels like a physical, instinct-driven safety who can force turnovers, fits exactly what Patrick Graham wants in a multiple-look secondary. Pair him with Deshaun Elliott, move Yolan Ramsey into that slot role more consistently, and suddenly you have flexibility. You can disguise coverages, you can rotate late, you can bring pressure without exposing the back end. That's modern NFL defense. Then there's Dominique Orange. The importance of a true nose tackle can't be overstated. When your interior gets pushed back, linebackers can't flow cleanly. When linebackers can't flow cleanly, explosive runs happen. Orange is described as immovable, powerful, capable of eating double teams. That one addition could quietly fix one of the most frustrating issues fans have watched over the last 2 seasons. Dallin Everett is a traits bet, and those are often the swings that pay off in Pittsburgh. Long arms, speed, sec pedigree. He doesn't have to start immediately if a veteran is retained, which allows proper development, and if he hits, you've got a long-term outside corner on a rookie deal. That matters when you're paying stars elsewhere. Romello Height replacing Nick Herbig is also a calculated move. You lose a proven rotational player, but you gain a similar archetype on a 4-year rookie contract. Explosive off the edge, capable in passing situations. And with CJ, use familiarity from Texas Tech, there's projection confidence there. It's not just drafting for need, it's drafting within coaching comfort. Yalan Farmer adds depth to an offensive line that still needs steady internal competition. Bishop Fitzgerald and Keyshawn Elliott are developmental bets with physical tools. And the double dip at receiver late Caden Ogan and Jordan Hudson ensures that even after the headline trade, you're still investing in young depth at the position. Ogan brings special teams value immediately, possibly handling punt return duties. Hudson offers balanced traits across the board and could grow into something more if developed properly. The bigger picture here is aggression with structure. You're not mortgaging multiple future first-round picks. You're not stripping depth across the roster. You're using one premium pick and a rotational edge rusher to acquire a proven superstar, while still walking away from the draft with potential starters at safety and nose tackle, depth at corner and guard, and developmental upside at multiple positions. That's the type of offseason that signals urgency, but controlled urgency. And now, I want to hear from you. If this is how the Steelers approach 2026 blockbuster trade, defensive reinforcements, developmental depth, does this feel like a team ready to seriously compete, or is it too aggressive for your liking? And here's the part that really makes this fascinating. This approach doesn't just change one season, it potentially changes the trajectory of the franchise over the next 3 to 4 years. If A.J. Brown performs at the level we know he can, and if Aaron Rodgers delivers efficient quarterback play within this structure, you've built an offense that doesn't need to be top 1 in the league to win. It just needs to be reliable, explosive in key moments, and capable of finishing drives. That's something Steelers fans have been craving. Too many stalled red zone trips, too many third downs where nobody creates separation. Brown fixes that immediately. He wins on slants, he wins on fades, he wins after the catch. That reliability changes play calling, confidence, and defensive respect. But what makes this plan smart is that it's not reckless. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren and Dominique Orange are not luxury picks, they're foundational. Safety depth and interior run defense are not glamorous topics, but they win games in January. When you face physical AFC opponents, you have to tackle, you have to hold the middle, and you have to force turnovers. Warren's ball skills and physicality fit that. Orange's anchor ability helps that. And don't overlook the value of competition being built quietly in the background. Dallin Everett pushing for future corner snaps, Romello Height fighting for third down reps, Yolan Farmer developing behind veterans, Keyshawn Elliott learning behind Patrick Queen, Jordan Hudson battling for receiver depth. That internal competition keeps a roster sharp. Another important detail here is financial flexibility, because the trade structure and rookie contracts balance each other out. You're not crippling future cap space immediately. That matters if this team wants to extend key defensive players down the line. It keeps options open. What this entire strategy suggests is clarity. It says the Steelers understand they are not in a rebuild. It says they believe they are close enough that one elite wide receiver can tilt the field, close enough that reinforcing the middle of the defense can fix specific weaknesses rather than requiring a full overhaul. And that's the debate, right? Are they truly one aggressive offseason away? Or is there still a larger gap than this plan accounts for? Because if it works, this becomes one of the boldest and smartest offseasons in recent memory. If it doesn't, critics will point to the risk of trading premium picks for veteran talent. That's the reality of high-stakes moves. So now I want you to think about this long term. 2 years from now, do you see this as the moment Pittsburgh pushed all the right buttons? Or do you think patience would have been the better route? And let's take this one step further, because the ripple effects go beyond just personnel. If this version of the Steelers takes the field in 2026, the identity shifts from reactive to proactive. Instead of asking, can the offense keep up? The question becomes, how do defenses stop this group? That's a completely different psychological dynamic. When you have A.J. Brown commanding double teams, DK Metcalf stretching the field vertically, and Romeo Dew operating with timing and chemistry alongside Aaron Rodgers, you're dictating matchups. You're forcing defensive coordinators into uncomfortable decisions every single week. And when you dictate matchups, your margin for error increases. Now imagine late in games, 3rd and 6, season on the line. In recent years, that situation felt tense because separation wasn't guaranteed. In this build, you have multiple receivers who can win one-on-one. That changes everything. Rodgers doesn't need perfection. He needs trust. And Brown gives him that trust immediately. On the defensive side, the improvements are quieter, but just as important. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren's presence next to Deshaun Elliott allows Patrick Graham to disguise looks pre-snap. A 3-safety big nickel alignment gives flexibility against both run-heavy and pass-heavy offenses. Dominique Orange anchoring the middle reduces the need for constant safety support in the box. That means more creative coverage shells on the back end. That means more disguised pressure packages, and don't underestimate the value of depth across a 17-game season. Romulo Height rotating on passing downs keeps TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith fresher in December. Yalen Farmer developing behind veterans prevents panic if injuries hit the offensive line. Bishop Fitzgerald contributing on special teams preserves roster flexibility. Keyshawn Elliott learning behind Patrick Queen gives you insurance at a position that demands physical endurance. This plan isn't just about September hype, it's about January readiness. The AFC is unforgiving. You don't survive it by playing conservative, you survive it by having difference makers. A.J. Brown is a difference maker. Warren could become one on defense. Orange could quietly stabilize a flaw that has cost this team games. And that's why this scenario is so compelling. It blends aggression with calculated drafting. It respects positional value. It accounts for financial structure. It keeps developmental pipelines active while still aiming to win now. But here's the honest truth. None of it matters unless it translates on Sundays. Talent on paper doesn't guarantee cohesion. Chemistry matters. Health